Alrighty, Rio here. I'm in my office. It is week 3 for you, and I am in the real world. In other words, in the time I'm recording this, I'm actually in Wednesday of week 2, and I just finished grading your querying part 3. So in this first video, I'm going to go over the first part of what you need to do for the attendance, right? The stuff that's graded. And then in the second video, I'm going to go over kind of what I saw in week 3, or querying part 3, and just give you some heads up, some things that I saw there. Okay? All right. So I haven't published this. We're actually in Canvas here, and I haven't published this assignment. And so you kind of see what you're seeing what I see when I'm in the course. So where things are prerequisites. So you've already been learning this as far as our course. So what we're about to do is actually going to be available to you as the second item, and you can work on it once you watch this video so you understand what it is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the attendance, and again, once I finish this video and the next, I'll publish them. So what you're going to do for the first assignment is you're going to do something that is going to be good practice. And what's, in this case, what's good practice? Well, good practice is actually somebody saying, because this leads into the idea of the technical interview, right? Because this is good practice for that. Because what you want to see is how well you're translating the concepts in this class. And so what you're going to play with is something that you're going to be some of the first students to have seen something that I helped create. And what it's going to be is going to be an assignment in Canvas that will actually take you out of Canvas. You'll put in your ID. You'll actually walk through a series of prompts. You'll have to answer. You'll do your best to write queries because it's going to give you some sample data. And then when you'll do like go deeper, it'll give you, you'll see this as we go through, and then you'll end up at the end submitting the assignment back into Canvas. So I have actually come up with this idea. I have the wonderful opportunity to be on a grant for the last 7 months. And part of our charge was to actually figure out the ways as a campus we could use these large language models. ChatGPT is, of course, the most common, but trust me, there's a lot of others out there, as I've said in my first video. So, but in this case, we're actually there's going to be some, again, you don't have to know too much about this, but you'll see it as you work through. Like what you're going to do is you're going to interact. It's going to send in the background a request over to OpenAI, which is who wrote ChatGPT, and then you're going to have, again, that idea of prompting, but it's just going to look different. And when you're done, it submits into Canvas, because my thinking when I came up with this concept that I actually worked with a professional developer together, we created this, is the idea that really part of what we want you to do is just learn to write prompts. Okay, or learn to interact. It's kind of like the idea of searching. The more you search, the better at it you get. Well, the similar concept to prompting, the more you do it, the better at it you get. All right, so just giving you that overview. So that's going to be most of the points for this week. Okay, so that's why I'm saying, right? So watch this video. At the end of it, then you'll actually go, I was showing you here, right? Because what you'll be able to do, and you'll be able to see it even before you watch this, so make sure you've watched it before you've done the good practice. Okay? All right, so let's actually we'll go into it. So when you open this, this is and actually the naming is something we're still working on, but Exploration Chat Assignment, I call it ICA, which is Interactive Chat Assignment. I need to update that. But, right, in this assignment, you're going to do a series of chats to see how well I am understanding, you are understanding, looking at data and writing queries using SQL to answer specific questions. Okay, so I was saying this before, so in this case, we're going to have 3 buttons. Let's get started, continue learning, and did I learn? And when you click these buttons that you'll see in a minute, this is the prompt that gets sent to ChatGPT. Again, you won't see ChatGPT, but that's what's happening, is we're sending these prompts over, and then you're interacting, and then when you're all the way through, when you hit submit, this is actually going to submit into Canvas, and that's part of what I will review. And what will I be looking for is how well did you interact, right? And the idea is to see how, and it's not that I'm going to grade you for did the queries work. You really want to see, and I want to see how well are you able to look at a data set and write some basic queries. And if you don't know how to write one, you can say that and it'll help you with that. But the idea is for you to do some authentic interaction. Okay. So when you hit start here, right? So when normally in Canvas, and you'll see this as a student, you'll see the new attempt at the top. That can be confusing. You scroll to the bottom and you hit start chat assignment. So what this does is it takes you out of Canvas, okay? So now you're actually at, this is what this is the start of the interface that we've created. So what you have to do right now, and this is something we're working on, but is you have to give it your student ID, okay? So your student ID, right, begins with, right, 0. I think everybody's does, and then you'll have to do that. And then what you want to do is make sure your name shows up, right? If you get an error here, just go back and you can hit refresh and put in, make sure you're providing your actual ID, because we have to actually line that up so we know where to submit it into Canvas. You have to agree here. You have to agree to the terms of service. And the reason we do this is just to let you know what you're about to do is going to get saved, and not that OpenAI knows it, because OpenAI underneath it is just getting prompts from us through what's the API. And what happens here is once you get all the way through, then we're saying we save all that to submit it into Canvas. Okay, so I just want you to know what you're agreeing to here. So here's what you're going to do. This is just like what we saw in Canvas, but now it's on the first page, and now we're ready to get started. So when we hit this first button, this prompt gets sent over to OpenAI ChatGPT. Okay, so I'm taking a community college course where I'm learning SQL using one table. Okay, here are the commands and topics we've covered so far. So I first break it down by, the where select, and then when you go here, then we'll add on the like and the different ways we can search for text, and just, using these different commands. So when we start here, right, let's get started, then you get a data set, and everyone will have a different data set. I've done this multiple times. Trust me, I'm guessing almost everybody will. That is something you could talk about in your post. So now our table is players, right? And here's the columns: player ID, right? So player ID, player name, player level, and experience points. Now let's write some queries, right? So in this case, now see, this is where ChatGPT, we're using a 3.5 Turbo, which is not the latest. We want to start using the latest for it. It should not have given us the queries, right? It should have, right, asked us just to say, right, what are these, right? Try these queries out provided, and ask more questions. So if you get something like this, right, try it again and hit refresh, because what you want to do, and it might take, and that could be part of your feedback too, because now I'd be like, how do I make sure, oh, you know what? I actually do know how to handle this. Hold on, I'm gonna do this. Hold on. Okay, so I actually changed the query. The prompt. I changed the prompt. And I said, right, at the bottom of this, do not write the query for me, but you can ask help, right? But you can help. And when, in this case, you would be the chatbot, okay? If I ask. So we'll try this again. So this is where, right, this is not coding, this is just changing the prompt. So let's get started. Now let's see what it does, right? Great. So now this actually gave me a better result. Now there's going to be such a variety of results here. This is part of what I'm actually excited to see, because we're all going to get better at writing prompts. It's just the nature of the world we live in, right? Be happy to write a data set, name, games, right? So ID, title, genre. So here, ID, right? Title. So now there's 4 queries in this example that need to be written. Select all games released in 2000. So you'd come down here, right? And you could do 1 period and then write the query, right? So this is write the SQL commands that, SQL commands together make the query. So then you could hit enter, and then you could do 2, right? And it's going to give you varying feedback. So you go through all these, you write the queries, right? And this is for the let's get started, right? So now once you get through those, then you go continue learning, because now you're going to get another set. And this is going to be for, right, using these other SQL commands that we're learning. So then you go through and attempt these. Now, how am I going to grade this? How well did you attempt this, right? And by the way, the idea is not for you to go out to ChatGPT. And by the way, you can't copy and paste here anyway. You'd have to type it. But really, that's not the point of the assignment. The point of the assignment is for you to get more experience, because like with anything in life, the more you do something, the better you get at it. And having somebody giving you, like, here's a sample. And by the way, you can do this on your own. You wouldn't have to have an assignment like this. But anyway, I'm just way too excited for this. So then you would do, in this case, 4 more queries. Write them, right? And then you'll do that, right? And then you'll get to the did I learn. Now notice what's happening here is that you have to move through these things in sequence. So then you'll get to the did I learn. And you could get a variety. You might be asked to do another query. You might be asked to answer a concept. You could handle this, right? How would I retrieve all the genres for RPG games released 2020, right? That you could write SQL for if I wanted it, right? So you could, most likely you'll answer this with SQL commands, right? But some of them might be concepts, right? So you'll do all that. And then when you're done, right? When you're like, okay, I've authentically tried this, right? And then what you'll do is you'll submit the assignment. So what will happen is that whole chat log will get sent into Canvas for me to review. So when you hit submit here, you won't get this error. The reason I'm getting it is because I haven't published it yet. So just FYI. So, and it's really hard for me, because what you will get is actually, you'll get a little thing that said, hey, it's submitted. And then when that happens, I will see it show up and you will see it in here. This is a graded item in the sense that it's our attendance, but more than anything, I just want you to do this. So could you try this multiple times? Sure. If you have any issues with this, please let me know. So again, just to be clear, read the chat bubbles, but then start it, put in your ID, make sure you put 0 in there. You have to OK, and then get into it. Attempt it, to do your best to answer, write queries for this, really write queries to answer these questions. Again, what I will grade on is how well did you interact. Did you interact? You can ask for help, but only asking for help is not the idea. I want to see you actually attempting to write the SQL, because this is you and I understanding how well you're translating concepts. And then when you submit the assignment, when I go to grade your attendance, that's what I will grade. Okay, all right, so now that you've done this, right, and now that you've seen me go through it, now you can go do it. Right? Now you can go do it. You will go do this assignment here in this one. Finish that one and then come back here, because I'm going to have a second video where I go over this week. All right. I know I'm a little too hyper about this. I have a certain ownership because I help create it. Anyway,